Welcome back to wagertalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Ralph Michaels. We're going to talk about the NFL draft. And Ralph, first off, I got to tell you, and I'm sitting here holding it, you did a fantastic job breaking down the NFL draft. And not only, and first of all, this is free at Wager Talk. You did all of this work. This is one of the reasons why we went out, got you to come to Wager Talk, because of the content that you provide. It's just, you can't be without it. And what I like is not only are you giving the preview of what you're thinking and the guys that are going to be drafted, but you give a perspective of the past history of what's happened in the draft, because for the first time here in Nevada, now you could do stuff like this offshore for a while now, but this is the first time in the state of Nevada you can actually bet on the NFL draft.
You know, the difference between what you can't do in Vegas and what you can do offshore is betting a specific player. Vegas is obviously concerned that if the Browns know they want to take a player, someone from the Browns organization can make large bets and do that. So while you can't bet on players, there's a lot of value with the props that you can bet, with the players taken, the number of players taken in around, conferences versus conferences, and those are going to change each year based on who's in the draft. But delving into it, I found it intriguing, and I found a great deal of what I think there's going to be a great deal of value in this draft.
For sure. In some of the prop bets that you can do are things like over-under on certain number of players from a particular team, or over-under on a certain position. Obviously, we always talk about quarterbacks. That's, the sexy, the most popular point of the draft is the quarterbacks and how many will be drafted in the first round. You can take over or under that. Another one that has fallen off the last couple years, but thanks to Ezekiel Elliott, running backs are now back in vogue. That was a position that wasn't as valuable to NFL teams as they were moving to more, passing and going downfield. But boy, he brought back old-time football last year.
Well, he did, and Leonard Fournette can thank him probably with a $5 million bonus he's going to get going in the top 5 this year. So, the running back props, is one that I don't think, there's going to be 3 running backs taken. So if you can find an over 2.5, it's a situation I like. If you can't, then, there will be 3. I mean, Cook's going to go from Florida State. Fournette's going to go from LSU. McCaffrey's going to go from Stanford. That's pretty clear cut. Jumping back to quarterbacks, it's not one that I'm going to give out here as a best bet, but quarterbacks is one that I wouldn't bet, because quarterbacks are one that teams tend to make stretches on and get desperate. We saw Denver trade up last year to get Lynch in the first round. They traded back up to get him. The Browns traded up to get Johnny Manziel a couple years ago, So while I have 3 quarterbacks in my draft, I have 1 in my first 7 out. And so therefore I wouldn't bet the 3. Even though I only have 3, I wouldn't bet under 3.5 because of that. But let me just jump into how I did it. And just for those that are going to bet the draft, it's just my way of making a template which I think you should do. I put the players in that I know are going to get drafted in the first round. I have 24 players. Those are my base 24. I don't do a mock draft. I think that's a waste, because teams make trades. Positions fall out where you don't know who's going to take, or someone may slide down the draft. So I have my base 24 players that I'm going to base everything on. If you go to the draft, you'll see them in bold, you'll see them in one column, and then the other players are thrown in. Then I took my next players that have a chance in my mind to make a first-round draft selection. There were 15 of those. Of those, I have my last 8 in and my 7 out. So everything is based on those 39 players. So when I go through my props, I look, how many are in my base 24 that I know are going to get picked? How many are in the next 8 that I have? How many in the next 7 that potentially could go in there without a surprise? So there's a lot of thought put into these wagers and these suggestions, because it's gone through 3 levels: the certainty level, the probable level, the I'm not surprised level, and they're all there's reasonings on every prop from that basis.
With all of that said, last week you gave out a best bet on video. You have 2 more you'd like to share with us?
I do. First, The SEC is over 4.5. That's minus 120. This one's simple for me. I have 5 Alabamas in my base 24. Simple. I like the over. It's minus 120. I think it's about as sure as you're going to get. When you go to the guide, I either pass, I do a single, a double, or a triple. So the triple is the strongest for this guide. Another one I'm going to just talk about is there value at a minus 400? I'm never one to say, let's lay 400 on a bet. But the prop is, will a kicker go in the first 3 rounds, you're plus 270? Or will a kicker go rounds 4 through 7, you're minus 400? I guarantee you there's no kicker will go rounds 1 through 3. You will not lose this bet. While you're having to put up 400, the only negative is you may not win the bet. It may be a push and you'll get your money back if no kicker is drafted. But just to show you the work I went through in this round, last year, Robert Aguayo from Florida State went in the 2nd round, and he's the only reason this prop is there. They put these props up quick. Vegas had never done it. They saw last year a player was drafted in the 2nd round, and they made the assumption, and they made the bet first 3 rounds. From 2006 to 2015, 19 kickers were drafted total. None in the first 3 rounds. Only 2 were drafted in the 4th round in those 10 years. Alex Henry from Nebraska went to Philly, not in the league anymore. And Stephen Gostkowski from Memphis with the Patriots, a good pick, but he was a 4th round pick. Last player besides Aguayo last year was Mike Nugent, 2nd round, 2005. No kicker will be drafted in the first 3 rounds. While you got to lay 400, you're just hoping you hear Gonzalez's name from Arizona State get drafted later to win that. If not, you get your money back.
All right, good stuff. You can check all of Ralph's work out at wagertalk.com. And again, the amount of work that he put into this draft, if you are a draft guy and you're going to dabble in betting the NFL draft, download this. You got to do it. It's just great stuff. And guys, check out Weekend All Access at Wager Talk. Every weekend, Thursday through Sunday, you can get all plays for just $59. Pick your favorite capper, get all of his plays. That's baseball, basketball, the whole works. NFL, if anybody has any NFL draft picks, you'll get that included as well. Check it out this weekend, wagertalk.com. We'll be back with more at wagertalk.com.